Good Sunday morning, everyone. I am feeling really good today. I don't know why, and it worries me. But last few weeks, I've been getting in a real positive mood and doing a lot of work. I worked on one of Gypsy Chappie's articles yesterday to put up today, and frankly, that's all I was planning to do was that article. But it always starts out. I'm going to make a note for some website, a sentence or a paragraph or something like that. It always ends up into an article, like Hemingway once said. He wrote a note to a friend. He said, "I would have made this shorter, but I just didn't have the time. I apologize." Anyway, before we go on, I'd like to say this show is brought to you by this bread. All right. For those of you who are my age who have problems with constipation, you eat this bread, and I guarantee you it will alleviate that problem. Right? Anyway, as usual, if you look up and you'll see the link to today's article, which was not supposed to be today's article. Chappie's was on the front page. It was today's article. But I wrote one called My Back Porch, explaining what I do on my back porch. This is what we're doing right now, my back porch. And I delved into my philosophy of my life and how I arrange things and how I put things together and basically how I come up with article ideas and the kind of music I like to listen to and the kind of beer I like to drink and all these kinds of things. So we got all into that. Read the article, you'll enjoy it, pass it around and all that kind of stuff. The main thing the article comes out with is you've got to come to a happy place in your life and accept who you are. Okay, I tried the suit and tie thing. I was a real estate agent for years, and I was working. I worked at a college. I was an auditor and inventory control manager at a local college here for years. Then I went to Nashville and I tried to be a songwriter, for a while and everything. And finally, I ended up back down in Berry Creek and went back into real estate. And it all finalized where I'm sitting here on this porch, and I guess about 4 miles from where I grew up. When I go out and about town, I'm hitting the exact same places that I hit when I was in high school. And that's really where you need to be. I hate to hear somebody makes it big, music or films or anything like that, and then they die in some place that they're not from. Like Donna Douglas. Remember Ellie Mae Clampett? She ended up in Hollywood and the Beverly Hillbillies and all that. Ended up dying in Louisiana. Basically the kind of people she was from. That's the way it needs to be. But the main thing you got to be is you got to be happy. If you're happy with yourself, then everybody else will be happy with you. And you got to get away from losers. That is the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 10 years. If you're a self-actuating type of person, if you are an optimist, if you are a positive thinker, you always try to ride the crest and look above the clouds, and you try to do things right. And you always got these people, Americans, that come around, and they've always got these problems, and it's always problems that they themselves have created. And they keep recreating the same. Anyway, that's one beautiful thing about doing these videos like I'm doing is when somebody tries to interrupt me with a phone call, I can always, it stops the progress of the movie, but I can always go back and I can edit now. So you can't edit on Facebook, but I can edit here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Anyway, these people always bring their problems around, and that's no good, because if you're an optimistic person, it leads you to think that you can help solve their problems. Okay, you can't solve most people's problems. Let's say you have a nice person who's done everything right and they're doing pretty good, and a little bump on the road comes along and they ask you for a little advice, and you say, "Well, I do it like this." They either take your advice or they don't take it and they move on. But then you got these professional problem people. Like I know this one old girl, she always calls me up about once a month. "My dad is not happy." Well, basically what it is she's not happy. And when she does get happy, she thinks there's something wrong with that, and she goes and looks for more problems. Okay. Also, dodge old drunks, and I don't mean drunks like me. I mean these people that can't talk. You know, those guys. Don't try to reason with them. You know, just don't try to reason with them at all. And avoid taking phone calls most of the time unless you just really want to, because you always get people on the phone that are asking you questions that you either can't or won't answer. And what happens is when you become embroiled in all this, it takes away from your optimism, your sunny outlook, and you're not doing like what I did on Sunday morning when my basic plan of the morning was to have oatmeal. Yet here we are, optimists, something to say, something to share, good things, okay? Well, I'm going to let this thing go now because I'm going to edit this down and everything and put it up. But just remember that. Read the article. I think you'll enjoy it. See y'all tomorrow.
Get your phone out of my face.